one dies and the other one lives, and you're talking about, you know, these things about surgery and stuff. It's like it's like I lived, and my twin brother who lived the same life as us, and we went separate roads. And he died, got shot 34 times, and I got to live, right? And granted, you know, his scenarios was extreme.
How's it going, guys? This is another episode of Faith and Base. Thanks for tuning in. Today, I'm going to have a special guest on today. His name's Giancarlo Zambrano. To me, he's a fellow brother in Christ, and he also has a really amazing testimony. So you'll find out more about him, but I actually met him through Emmaus, which is actually a men's retreat. And it's a spiritual retreat, and it is Catholic, but I think that regardless of your spiritual backing, like whatever denomination you're a part of, you would actually get a lot out of it. My dad actually helped start Emmaus 30 years ago, and that was kind of my journey in partaking in that. But that's how I met Giancarlo, and he's a really interesting guy. I think that you guys will enjoy the conversation. So look forward to hearing what everybody says. Ladies and gentlemen, I have my good friend Giancarlo Zambrano here on the Faith and Base podcast. He's a friend of mine that I've met through Emmaus, which is a Christian retreat. It's actually Catholic, but really, whatever faith denomination you are, you'll get a lot out of it. So with no further ado, this is Giancarlo Zambrano. What's up, Giancarlo? How's it going, bro? Yeah, bro, absolutely, man.
What a blessing to be here.
Make sure you talk into the mic, my brother.
Starting for the journey of mine, hours that we started when we said yes at Emmaus, right? So before we get going, I'll open it up with a prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for our family, friends, and ministry. As we adore you, glorify you, give you thanks for all you have done, all you are doing, and all there is to come. As we pray for health, wealth, and happiness for all, especially ones who seek it through you. As we pray for all children to open up their hearts that they may soften their hearts, not only stars, fill them with all of your promises, seven gifts, hope, faith, love, all of your will, as well as your mothers, your fathers, your uncles, brothers, and sisters. In your name, our Lord, our God, Jesus Christ, we give you thanks for your grace, your mercy, and interceding to our Father, our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
So, yeah, it's been an exciting life of mine, right? We all experience trauma and loss in our life that it does something to us that leads us to come closer to Jesus Christ, right? Some people take a little longer than others. Some are quick to it. Some are already they don't need those experiences to get there. To the ones that do, God bless them because they took the hard road as I did, as well as my brothers did. That led me to become the man I had to become. So yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think a lot of people, they get shown the correct way in life, and then for whatever reason, they go astray, and then it's kind of like the whole idea of the prodigal son, right? Where it's like you're going the right path, and then you go the wrong path, and then when you go back to the right path, it's like your father welcomes you back, and no different than your father in heaven welcoming you back when you're making your way back to the right path. So I think a lot of people, I mean, not everyone, right? But I think like there's a decent amount of people that have similar testimonies that definitely resonate with that. But yeah, no, definitely. So talk to me about where it all started, man. Like, I mean, obviously, so we're in Miami now. You grew up, I think, in Massachusetts or something like that, right? So
No, I was born here. I was born in Miami. My mother and my father that had two sets of twins and my older brother. So I'm a twin. My sister's a twin, and my older brother. We were born here, all here in Miami, and then we moved to Venezuela. Lived in Venezuela for a few years.
what city?
In San Cristobal.
And that's where my wife is from.
No way. I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know
You didn't know that?
Awesome.
Are you messing with me?
I'm not.
Yo, you were just talking to her a second ago. Damn, that's funny, bro.
Yeah, so my mother's Colombian, my dad's Venezuelan, and we moved to Venezuela and lived in San Cristobal.
That's wild, dude.
To school there. Man, wow, what life experiences as a kid. We did some crazy things. We saw bullfights. My dad would bullfight at the club, and we learned to do a lot of shooting. I caught a owl, baby owl. I didn't catch him. I found him, kept him as a pet. We had a little house outside in our place, and he'd walk in through a little hole, come into the kitchen. It was the coolest thing. And
A pet owl?
a pet owl.
That's crazy.
He would walk in and out of the house. It was the
That's like some cartoon.
craziest thing. His name was Rey Arturo, right? So King Arthur was
Right.
our owl's name.
That's great.
What an experience. Then we moved back here, 88, 89, beginning of 89. And we came back to Miami. We went to school. 92, you got Hurricane Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
My sister got hit by a guy who took a red light, totaled the car, and we're in Mexico.
This was in the 92? At the same year?
92. We're in Mexico visiting my aunt who married a Mexican, and we spent the whole summer over there. Again, one of my memories, rest in peace, Toby Keith. I should have been a cowboy. We were kids growing up. We literally thought we were cowboys. I mean, in Venezuela, we got to, spend the summers in our uncle's ranch and ride horses bareback. Some exciting stuff as kids, right? That, we play with little baby calves thinking we're, in a rodeo, tackling them down, tying them up. And, a 7-year-old, 8-year-old doing that, it's like you're on top of the world, right?
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, definitely like the age before technology and social media and cell phones, right, where kids actually played outside and stuff. So were you walking close in your faith during these times, or not really?
At that age, our mother would take us to church.
Right. Yeah, but you're still young, so you're still trying to process.
We did we were baptized here in Good Shepherd in Kendall. Did our first communion, our confirmation at Good Shepherd. Then we were altar boys. We would eat the bread, drink the wine, by the abundance. You gotta live in the mindset of abundance. Me and my brother were literally having the Eucharist in abundance.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro.
I loved it. That was one of the cool experiences as an altar boy.
Yeah. What's funny, I was an altar boy for a little bit too, bro. But I wasn't doing that though. I wasn't doing that. Yeah. But it does take me back to like a different time, where like when you first get introduced to like God and the church, and like you're understanding like the ramifications of it all and all that, and you're like, man, like I want to do good. I want to be like God's homeboy, like that's kind of like the genuine like childlike spirit that you have, like at least like up until like elementary, middle school, and then at some point you just want to be a quote unquote like adult, like you want to grow up, right? Which whatever that means, right? Which is at the end of the day, it's sinning, right? Like people want to do adult things, and what are those things? Well, drinking alcohol, it's it's the whole nine, partying. It's whatever you perceive what adults do, which it's kind of like that's like a whole psyop. It's like that's like a societal thing, right? Oh, that's what adults do. It's like, well, I'm an adult and I don't do that, right? So, but it's just like when you're a kid, that's kind of like the perception. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So that was 92. So then 94. My dad's business was import export. So one night, 4 in the morning, he felt the need to tell us that, hey, we're having a little brother, just not by your mother. And that's when the roller coaster ride began, right?
Yeah.
That's when things changed, right? Where I thought I was living in a perfect world, a perfect family. I was hearing about kids' parents getting divorced, and I'm giving thanks to my parents are good.
Right.
My mother did an amazing job of hiding that from us, the grown-up issues that today parents let their children see. So that's when the roller coaster ride began, right? And my mom decides she thought it was best for us to move to Massachusetts. So, '94. Not only did we lose our father, right? Because that's essentially when we lost our father. He was always flying anyways.
Right.
But
Try to move the mic closer.
that's when he, officially that's it. That's then we became men that day.
Yeah.
And our childhood got taken away. We're no longer.
And how old were you at that time?
12 years old.
12, right.
So now we're no longer children. Now we don't look at the world the way we did
Right.
anymore.
Right.
And
that kind of goes parallel too with what I was saying is that, right around 12 years old, like around that age, maybe a little bit older, 15, that's when you start kind of venturing into like, dipping your toe into like the pool of sin, right? Or backsliding or, whatever, going away from God.
The pool of sin, man, did it begin. It was crazy. Life got crazy real fast, right? The moment you think you're a man in a boy's body,
right?
Life is crazy.
Right.
My mom moved us to Massachusetts, and now we're like fish out of water because now we just moved back from from Venezuela. We've been here a few years, but we're still, you know what I mean. It's the mentality. You're coming from another country to move to another state.
Yeah.
And when you're just settling in and you feel a little comfortable because you got a lot of Hispanics from your area. It's a lot of Spanish speaking, and I didn't like to speak English at first.
Right.
My brother did, and I just didn't. So we moved to Massachusetts. Man, what an experience. My mom, where she moved us, it was like a smaller town.
Right.
And it was predominantly white.
Right.
And that's where I first experienced racism. Whoa. We don't look it, but when you're not white,
right,
it hits different. That was an experience on its own. So now not only did we move to a cold and ugly place that I saw it as because it was so different from what I was used to, and the cold weather makes everything ugly.
Yeah.
You know
I lived in the Midwest. I know what you're talking about.
So that adjustment, right? That adjustment of moving, and then 2 years later or so, I run away. I tell my mom I'm going to visit my dad. I wasn't stopping about.
So how old were you when you ran away?
15 years old.
Damn.
I told my mom coming to visit my dad.
In Miami.
Yeah, and I just didn't go back. She had put me on a change program. I was going to New York back and forth at 14 years old, doing things that I shouldn't have been doing. And I finally said, I'm out of here. I don't want to be here no more. Come back to Miami, 15 years old. Man, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get back to Kendall, right? Because my dad's living in North Miami Beach. So, boom, I started taking the bus to go to school at Sunset. And, I leave at 5 in the morning and taking that bus ride down Collins and Washington or whatever into Government Center was crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. So, again, boom, you're moving into a sinful world and having to man up fast. And eventually, I figured out a way, got to, get a place in Kendall and was living next to my cousin's house. Eventually, my brother came down, my older brother came down. He got involved into some stuff. Got himself killed. Then I had.
What stuff would he get himself into?
Drugs. He was moving a lot of cocaine and it got himself killed, right? And,
yeah.
In the process, again, there goes another traumatic experience, right? Here I am. I finally got back home, what I saw as home here in Miami. And now I got to go back to the place I hate for my mother's sake that just lost her firstborn son. I moved back, and now I'm super angry now. Now I'm 17, angry, so much emotions because I was already an angry kid, right? You know, here's my dad, the man that I love the most, betrayed me, my brothers, and my mother, and now my brother's dead. I'm like, this can't be it.
Yeah.
So, you know, Mr. Popular at school, right? Playing sports, doing all the fun things, right? And I get expelled. I get expelled for drug distribution, right? Medical marijuana, what we call it today.
Right.
And it was crazy, right? Because that day I was in-house suspension. I didn't even know for what. And they came down to get me an in-house, and I'm like, what now? And you know, my assistant principal was like,
You want me to get you some tissues, my brother?
I'm good. My assistant principal was like, you had some stuff in your jacket. I go, yeah. Why didn't you leave it? He goes, your beeper was going off, and I'm in a parent meeting, and I pulled it out. I couldn't put it back in, right? This is the conversation I'm having with my assistant principal.
It's crazy.
And so I got expelled, right? So now I'm even more angry, right? Because that beeper wasn't even mine. It was my brother's. And I didn't know he had left it in my jacket. And I used to have to leave my jacket in the principal's office because I'd always show up late. So, you know, my fault for being dumb. And here we go. Another monumental move, right? So, they let me leave. The cops show up at my house. You know, I got booked and I got into the system. Right now, I got charged with drug distribution, and I'm expelled.
So you can get charged at school, huh? Like that? Yeah, I guess so.
It was backed up, and back then, it was a big thing.
Yeah, I feel like in private schools they don't do that to you. Well, I guess depending on what it is.
It's a private school.
Oh, that was a private school?
No, I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
It's not
I'm so sheltered, huh? I'm like, what? Like they call the cops on you at school? Yeah.
Well, they did, but he let me leave before they got there.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, I would
So you were cool with him then, somewhat?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, seems like it.
My boy. I mean, that's why I asked him why he didn't put it back in my pocket.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So.
So you get expelled, and then what? You're still living in Mass? Or you move back down?
Still Massachusetts. No, it's still Massachusetts.
And what town is this? In Massachusetts.
This was in Worcester.
Okay.
Man. What a place. It's evolving. I feel it's come a long way from what it used to be. A lot of violence, a lot of drug. I mean, we got into my brothers. They got into my twin brother. You know, we got into a lot of things, and I wasn't the perfect angel back then either. But we won't get into the specifics.
Yeah.
And fast forward, right? I ended up going to college. I graduated high school when I made it a point to finish school, right, and not make it a part of my story like this is what it's gonna be, right? Selling drugs is gonna be the rest of your life. No, I fought it. I went to college and I started my own business. And at first it was a front, and it took off.
What do you mean a front? Like it was illegitimate?
I mean, it was, but it wasn't what I was wanting to do. I was
Right.
just doing what I was doing.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So it was a front for the drug.
Well, yeah.
For drug running, right?
So,
but then that whatever name or whatever you wanted to establish, that became an actual business.
It evolved into a real business because it would tie. I always wanted to build houses for whatever reason, and it could.
But sorry to cut you off. What age are we talking about here? That you're talking now? Okay, so around 18.
I mean, I got expelled. I started my business. I don't know if we can Google the yellow pages.
Right.
I'm sure I got a hefty bill because.
Right.
So I didn't know what I was doing. I knew I was selling stuff to people that were doing the stuff that I needed to build a house with.
Like, so you were just selling like stuff to build houses?
Oh no, it was drugs. The people doing the drugs were the people doing the trades.
Oh, I see.
Construction.
Okay.
So I put it together that okay, this is what I want to do. I have the tools here in front of me. What do I got to do to get there, right? So at 18, 19 years old, put ads in the yellow pages. No idea what I'm doing. The phone starts ringing. Hey, I need a roof estimate. Hey, I need gutters. Hey, I need windows. Hey, I need my basement done. Hey. And I said, let's go. And each individual tradesman that I knew, I would lead me to another one that would help me achieve the things I needed to achieve. And, by the ripe age of 23, I built my first house, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was.
But like your own house for you to live in.
No,
Yeah.
sell.
Right.
So now I'm 23. I'm having my firstborn son. I didn't graduate college because I got caught up in everything else, and my business started going good.
And where were you in your faith life at 23, or at least between your brother passing until 23?
I mean, I'd probably I'd go to church here and there with my mother.
But you still weren't like, you feel like you weren't like, Jesus wasn't center of your life, or
he was. I knew he was the reason why I wasn't getting in trouble.
Okay.
I knew he was saving me every time.
Right.
I knew I was abusing the gift that he had given me, and the privilege to be able to do the things that I'm doing now.
Right.
That I abused back then. It was made very clear to me, right, one evening, how blessed I am because of Jesus Christ, right? Because there were so many times that I shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I had my firstborn, and it changed my life. And I said, I don't want this type of life for my son. So I completely stopped everything, right? And I started changing my life, right? And of course, I always was going to bring my son to the church because I knew what it had done for me and how it had maintained me to be able to have a child, right? To be able to say I'm a father, to be able to become a father, the honor and the privilege, right? And I was short-lived because I tried to destroy everything after, right? I don't know why. I don't know. You know what I mean? Everything was good for a little bit, and then those patterns start coming back, right? The life patterns, and it goes way back, and you get stuck in these patterns sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's called the mud, right? And instead of keep pushing, right? Because I didn't know what exactly exactly what I was fighting back then, right? You don't know that you're fighting these spirits. You don't know that you're being attacked by spirits, right? Because the devil creeps in you in so many ways, and it is so deceiving that the truth becomes so distorted, and lies become so distorted that they become true.
Right.
So it becomes like a whirlpool, and you get lost in it. The whole mentality, and you start fighting the flesh.
Yeah.
Right? And I was an aggressive person, and I always felt I'm always being attacked.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, why am I always feeling like I'm being attacked? Always feeling like.
What you're talking about? Were you also like doing coke at that time too? No. Oh, okay.
And this is all mental, right?
Yeah.
You couldn't. They don't teach you that you're gonna be attacked by spirits, or
Right.
You're just not gonna hear something that you're not ready to hear.
Yeah.
Right. So if you hear these things, you think people are crazy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, the spiritual discernment. Well, I think the thing is that our society, they program us to live in a material world, which obviously we do live in a material world, right? Physical, but because that's what we see, and it's just that's what we acknowledge. But there's a lot of other things that are unseen, spiritual, right? Things like there's ultraviolet light, there's things that we can't see, our eyes can't comprehend. So that's just on the spectrum level. But on like a metaphysical spiritual level, there's all these other things that are happening. Our society does a good job, like science, right, does a good job of saying, hey, I'm a scientist, I'm using the scientific method, and then they tell you all this stuff, but then they don't, they're showing you a piece of the pie, but they're not showing you the big, all the different layers, the spiritual layer on top of that. Like there's all these things, right?
They can show you, but if you aren't
Yeah.
ready to hear something, you're not gonna.
Yeah. I mean, one way to put it in a bow is put a bow on it is like talking about like near death experiences, right? Where like you'll have these like doctors in the ER, and then somebody will be they're trying to resuscitate somebody and somebody lives. Try to resuscitate somebody dies. There's no rhyme or reason. They have, at the end of the day, the doctors are going to use all their tools they have, and really, it's a flip of the coin. They have no power up to a certain level with the tools they're using, because at the end of the day, it's a spiritual thing. It's like people's bodies pass, they go into some sort of judgment period. Sometimes they're asked, or they make a decision, do you want to go and pass the light and be with your family or whatever, or do you want to go back and bro, it's insane how people make these crazy choices. You're living in bliss and you're feeling bliss, or do you want to struggle but you got to be back with your family? And a lot of people, I mean, obviously they live to talk about it, so they say they made the choice to go back, but this is people that have already died. So meanwhile, they got into a car accident, or they did, so now they have to recover, right? Living a life full of pain, right? But they're still and that's like the true like pinnacle of realizing how important and how valuable life is, right? We think of money, life as numbers, right? Because how much could I make? Oh, I make X amount a year. That's how much my value is. That's my value. No, it's not, dude. Oh, this is Faith and Base podcast. Fuck that. No, I'm just kidding. Pardon my language, y'all. But I don't, I don't jive with that. To me, that's not what it's all about, dude. It's, if anything, bro, everybody's worth billions of dollars. Like, if you really want to put money on it, you know what I mean?
There's no value.
There's no value. I mean, you're talking about kids, my daughter and all that. Come on, bro. Like,
There's no value.
I'd rather have her and live in the slums than live by myself with a mansion, bro. You know what I'm saying? How about that, dog?
So now we're in 2004, right? And I forgot to mention one of my sisters passed away in 2000. A year later from my older brother, right? Heart complications. Both my sisters had open heart surgeries, numerous heart surgeries when they were born. They were the first ones to have open heart surgeries at Jackson. Came on the front page of the Miami Herald. And one of my sisters ended up being slow because of the operation. They didn't put enough air in the incubator. Things happened, major surgery. and she ended up being a little slow. So she was, ended up being special needs, which ended up being what a blessing, right? She was such a saint, the purest soul. Oh my God, she was the cutest thing. She'd call me Chino Pelado because I looked Chinese when I was a kid, and she'd call me Chino Pelado. So sweet, my Saint Patty. Every time Saint Patrick comes around, I think about my Saint Patty, and she fought and she enjoyed life so much, right? And she was the one that was supposed to live, and my other sister was the one that was supposed to pass away because of her heart condition. And ended up, my sister Alex ended up having 3 beautiful daughters that I love. What a blessing. She's she's waiting to have open heart surgery. They don't know, if they do it from the back or whatever, but she's had a life that she wasn't supposed to be able to achieve, right? And by the grace of God, she was.
Wow.
So, one dies and the other one lives, and you're talking about, these things about surgery and stuff. It's like it's like I lived, and my twin brother who lived the same life as us, and we went separate roads. And he died, got shot 34 times, and I got to live, right? And granted, his scenarios it was extreme. He was hurt, so many times by the police that he had bad blood with them. That there was no telling him otherwise. Because I always told him never touch the police, and of course he shot one and killed. He shot him 5 times. Another traumatic, life-altering, detrimental. I mean, you want to talk about putting horrible energy, destroyed me, destroyed my relationship with my kids, destroyed a family, a beautiful family. He had 3 sons. He had, you know what I mean? He destroyed so many people, and that's something that he didn't think of, right? And whoever thinks about the outcome and the outcome of your action, no one really does, right? Before he got shot, I was able to, I talked to him. I hadn't talked to him for like 8-9 months because I was arguing with him. I'm like, stop doing what you're doing, come to Miami. I was on top of the world. Life was amazing. It was about to get seriously. I mean, financial freedom was there, right? And he destroyed it. He destroyed it by his action, his selfishness, and distortion of life, right? He couldn't cope with life and what it had become. He was more focused on becoming a drug lord type thing. He was married to the streets in his mind, and he would wear a wedding ring. I'm like, bro, you get it together, bro. And he destroyed it and destroyed me. And the thing is,
so he'd wear a wedding ring, say he was married to the streets.
Yeah.
Do people do that, or is that just him being mad creative, yo? I've never heard that before, dog. Yo, that's crazy, bro. I could see a rapper or somebody doing that.
And what's crazy is that my kids loved my brother, and my brother was always the likable one, right? Everybody loved my brother.
No, I mean, bro, you're not very likable, so
right? But everybody loved him, right? And he had this anger inside of him that I couldn't help. I tried, but I didn't do my best. Right? Because I was battling my own things, and I knew what I had to do because I did the same thing for my older brother. I couldn't stop him. I knew where he was gonna end up. I knew he was gonna die, but I couldn't interfere into his world.
Right.
He was in his own video game. It felt like, and I could not touch his controller.
Yeah. And I mean, listen, man, at the end of the day, like, I look back in my life of, I have had people pass or things like this, and I could have done this and that better. And bro, at the end of the day, yeah, like for sure. But man, we make decisions. We're responsible for our own decisions, man. You know what I mean?
We do. It weighed heavy on me. I mean, I don't wish it upon anybody. I never condoned what my brother did. I always stood against it, and it broke my heart. It broke my kid's heart. I haven't seen my kids in 7 years. My oldest son, I saw him for the first time 7 months ago, for the first time, and what a blessing. But man, what a disappointment in the way he speaks and the way he acts. He's broken, right? He's broken, and everything I said I wouldn't do to my kids, I did it. I destroyed my.
And are you cool with the kids' mom?
No, absolutely not. I mean, I wasn't the best husband. We
Go ahead.
we don't grow up sometimes till it's too late, right?
Yeah.
I always was. I don't want to say a sex addict, but I abused the gift God had given me, and I was using everything I was given for the wrong reasons. I mean, I cheated on my wife countless times. I slept with her sister for a long, lengthy period of time.
But all this,
and this is gonna lead.
No, hold on. I just wanna call out one thing. You say you're close to Christ during all these times, or do you feel like during these times you were kind of going away a little bit?
Yeah, no. I mean, like I said, I would go to church.
Right.
But like in the Gangster movies, why are they going to church?
Yeah, I hear you. You
know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not what I am today when I go to church.
Okay. Okay. I'll let you wrap up the testimony, and then we'll and I don't mean wrap it up. Take your time. What I guess my point is that, listen, a lot of people, they talk crap about Catholics, right? They say they're lukewarm. They go to church. They're not really doing much. They sin. Bad people. They're not really Christ-like. They're not following Jesus, right? And to those people, I would say you're not half wrong, okay? But I do recognize that there are people close in the faith that do abide by their principles and are more like, about the word. For example, we go to St. Louis. They're very Bible-based, right? They're not these, and I'm not hating on my, my faith here, but some Catholics, they follow a lot of the catechism and not really the Bible, right? So I think it is pretty cool that they are Bible based, and as a result, we do parallel a lot with Christians, right? But at the end of the day, Catholics are Christians, and if anything, shots fired. Catholics are the real Christians. Really,
it's the levels to it. It's the top level.
It started with Jesus, and then it went to Peter, and then it went to all the popes underneath. So, that's the true church, if you really want to think about it. Not this whole Martin Luther Reformation thing.
That's a denomination.
But listen, I'm not trying to I'm not trying to be divisive here, because shout out to all my Christian brothers and sisters. I love you guys. And honestly, at the end of the day, I think my heart is truly a Christian. I love how those people are about the Spirit. They're super evangelical. They love worshiping God and praising God. So I'm by no means hating at all, but I do recognize that I love the tradition of the Catholic Church. And I'll go into one more thing. For example, when there's symbols and all these things for everything, okay? And this is what I love about it. When you get married, you go up on an altar, right? You go up on an altar, and it's like coming closer to God because you're raising yourself, right? So you're basically making a commitment with God before the eyes of God. Two are becoming one. You're making that. And in the Old Testament, they would sacrifice an animal on an altar. What are you doing? You're sacrificing yourself on an altar so that you're all that past stuff, you're putting that, boom, laying it all out on the altar, and now you're becoming this new flesh. To me, that's real. To me, that's hard. And imagine you just go get married in the beach or whatever, like the way that a lot of people like to do nowadays. Bro, but you're missing that aspect. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that I'm a designer. I love the way things look. I love symbols. I love things. To me, that's dope. I'll digress. My bad. Go for it.
No. It's 100% true, right? And there's different. It's the top level, right? Some people, it's a walk, right? One step at a time. One ladder up to get up to where we all want to achieve, right? And like that Pastor Jennings, that he rips everybody.
Get closer on the mic. You're good.
That he rips everybody, right? But he's right. But you need those other guys to bring people in. For them, once he brings them in, they go up and they get better, right? Because it's like when you hit them with the pads on the operating table, you can kill them if you shock them too hard, and right. Some can't take it, right? And like today in the scripture, right, it reads, "Thus says the Lord God, if the wicked man turns away from all sins he committed, if he keeps all my statutes and does what is right and just, he shall surely live. He shall not die. None of the crimes he committed shall be remembered against him. He shall live because of virtue he has practiced. Do I indeed derive any pleasure from the depths of the wicked, says the Lord? Do I not rather rejoice when he turns from his evil way, that he may live? And if the virtuous man turns away from the path of virtue to do evil, the same kind of abominable things that wicked man does, can he do this and still live?" I mean, this is today. This is the scripture of today. And I can keep going, right? But it goes back into everything that I'll talk to, right? I had he's an interim federal magistrate, asked me, he goes, "Have you ever killed anybody?" And jokingly, I reply, "Nobody's ever come to complain." Right? It's a joking matter. It's not a joking matter. I joked about it, you know. I've never physically killed anybody, but man, I slay them demons. What? And in the process, whoever dies from them demons slain got nothing to do with me, but I've got some checked off, right? Because, you know, why do people hate Jesus, right? Because Jesus exposes their demons. Right. And you know, the gift I got, I expose demons too, right? So, as crazy as that is, and how I have tried it, I am 100% sure of it, right? That I make people's demons dance, and I enjoy it. And before, I felt the need that I had to punish these people, right?
Yeah, but I would say, listen, there is something to like showing people what's right or wrong, you know, but you also got to watch out with ego and pride, you know, because that's where a lot of that stuff comes from, you know. And this, you know, there's an expression, take one to know one, right? Hey, you're talking to a guy that's a prideful, egotistical son of a gun, let me tell you. So yeah, I have to check myself. And to be honest with you, the 7 deadlies, that pride one is what made Lucifer fall. So that's like the most like God hates. 1, 2, that's the one I struggle with the most. And I'm not even joking with you. So like, yeah, like,
so a perfect thing, right? One of our brothers, Jose Nicholas, my boy, he says to me, and this is a private conversation, but I feel it's epic. I mean, cause no man can humble you, one, right? So whoever thinks they're gonna humble me is out of their mind. Only God can, right? And not that Jose Nicholas was trying to humble me.
Right, he was giving you advice or talking to you about something.
The most amazing thing that I repeat all the time to myself.
Yeah.
You're just the donkey that
Right.
Jesus is riding on.
Right. Yeah. You know what's funny? A buddy of mine says, "You're not the main character. Jesus is the main character," and I like that because, and I think that's like a kind of like an internet thing. Like I've seen like on Twitter or X now, people will see like something happen, like a video or like a fight breakdown, or like you'll see somebody in the background like with their arms crossed, and they'll be like, "Oh, that person in the back thinks they're the main character." So it's kind of like
I feel we all are the main characters, right?
we are all the main characters of our story.
Correct.
However, we are not the. What we need to be is like we're the engine, and then God steers us. You know, we got to be the one that actually does the motion, but God's giving us a dictation of where to go.
So yeah, I ran into him the other morning at Green Street Cafe, and I'm like, bro, I was just thinking about you, and you walking in, I was gonna call you because
that's the way God works.
You know. I can't stop thinking about that damn donkey.
Bro, you know what's funny about that? Bro, what was I saying? I was, bro, it's funny how things are so kaleidoscopic and the way that God like designs things. And this goes into like how people talk about the Matrix. To me, the Matrix is the most disrespectful thing to say. Everybody out there, the Matrix is God. Stop that. God's design. I don't want to hear it. I'm tired of it. It's God's design. Saying the Matrix, that's like calling a tissue paper Kleenex, bro. You're just giving a different name to the same thing, all right? So listen, by saying the Matrix, what you're doing is you're taking God out of it. You know what I mean? But listen,
shout out to Pellegrino.
All right. Stupid. No, they're not a sponsor. I don't care about spelling. Hey, if they want to holler at me and sponsor this podcast.
Yeah, you know, we'll work on it. Come on, Pellegrino. You know.
No, but listen, like I get really upset with the whole Matrix things because listen, God is a supernatural God. He does things in mysterious ways. And what I was trying to get at is that I'll be watching a podcast. And then the guy will say like a word like the girl ran over the hill, just something stupid. It doesn't matter what it is. And then I'll like that'll be on the thing I heard. And then I'll look at my phone and then it'll be like a news article. The girl ran over the hill. Da, 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 da. And I go, what just happened? And then I'll actually go, you know what, this is crazy. I'll pause the podcast. I go, did I mishear that? I'll rewind it and listen again. I go, did I just hear this exact same thing I just read? And bro, guys, catch on to it. This happens more often than not. Anyways,
it's called manifestation.
Yeah, there you go.
Right?
Go for it.
Manifestation is a whole craziness, right?
Right.
People's perspective of you is a manifestation, right? And we always heard, oh, the guys are terrible. All those guys, you know.
Right.
And, you know, we became terrible.
They create the reality.
We became terribly good at being terrible.
You know what that is? That's see, this is what actually, this is all about the premise of faith and base. And this is my part of my journey. I know we're going on your testimony here. But basically, there's a lot of power in words, right? And that's kind of like the whole conspiracy thing is what I started getting into is realizing the powers that be use words in ways where they manipulate society, right? Like good morning, right? Morning, morning. That means a sad thing. Yeah. So you're not supposed to say good morning. You're actually supposed to say good day. So they have us and they keep us in a paradox in this world with using words in a way of keeping us in a low vibrational state. So we actually have to empower ourselves and say words that actually make us feel better. So even this is another one. People say bless is actually be less. So you shouldn't say bless. So God bless you is actually be less. So listen, he's talking about layers. There's levels and layers of this thing. At the end of the day, though, if somebody were to tell me, "Yo, Mike, God bless you, Michael, bless you," I'm still gonna say it back. Why? Because I'm gonna take that positive vibration he's throwing at me exactly, as opposed to, "Oh, hey, by the way, you know, that's actually be less, and you gotta look at the Black's Law Dictionary and do your research." And listen, guys. You know, you don't have to be black pill truth guy all the time. Listen, you lead with love. And I feel like that actually, That does more than good. Listen, you can't fight fire with fire. You extinguish the fire with water. How do you fight the hate? You fight it with love. It's that simple, bro. It's that simple. I went on a tangent there.
No, it was an amazing one. So right now we're at, I don't even know what age, right? But now, right, I got 2 brothers that were killed. My sister passed away. My kids hate my guts. I'm going through a divorce. So now I'm 35, right?
In Miami or in
Massachusetts, right? Man, a whole lot of craziness happened, right? Because from like 2010 to 2015, I was flying back and forth from here to Boston and back, and it was crazy. I was living a double life. I would come here, do Miami things, and I'd go back home and kind of do Miami things more scaled down. But
yeah.
I would recharge and come back over here and wild out. But fast forward back to the divorce, going through the divorce, and that's when my brother decided, let me add some more problems to my life, and that he killed a cop. My ex-wife, who married a state trooper now, who is my #1 fan. Shout out to Trooper Luis Aguilar. You know what I mean? God loves you too. I do too. And another roller coaster ride started, right? Because now I'm dating one of my beloved ex-girlfriends, and she was a probation officer, her dad a judge, and this happens, right? Right? You want to talk about wow. I'm grateful for them, because God, I can't imagine how it would have turned out. They showed up at her house looking for me at 2 a.m. I pretty sure it was the FBI, the state police, everybody under the sun looking for me at her house. The things she's had to endure for me because of what my brother did. Man, wow. It was crazy, and I'm sorry for all of it. I did the best I could with what I had, and that's one of the biggest lessons that I learned from a man that possessed the spirit of the devil in him. But we won't get into that, right? But I learned that our parents did the best they could with what they had, right? And I knew I had to forgive my dad and my mother for the life that had unraveled, right? Because I always put it on them. I held my parents at an extremely high standard, right? I knew the life my grandparents gave them, and they were doing a shitty job. You know what I mean? If I give my parents, my mom was amazing in her own ways. My dad did his thing, but they did a shitty job, right? Cause
it's a slippery slope though, catching judgment. But at a young age, it's understandable.
I was angry, right? I was angry because I held them at such a high standard, and that made me angrier, because they weren't uneducated. It's not like they did not have a good life. They didn't know any better. No, they know very well what they needed to do, and they didn't, right? So I was angry. Man, was I angry at them. And thank God for the devil, right? He showed me this, and I learned this from him, right? And it allowed me to forgive myself for the things I had done and the things that I did not do, right?
I think a lot of those types of traumas, and listen, I'm not a psychologist, even though I pretend like I know about the mind. Getting rid of some of those traumas in our mind that bind us really help, a lot of those negative actions that we end up doing to people. So that's good that you were able to kind of release that. It's powerful.
And I always say, right, like I was never an innocent young man, child. I bent them rules as far as I can bend it, but I never hurt nobody that was good, and I always defended myself, right? It was nothing like what my brother did. That's an absolute tragedy. You like no, and that's not the look I wanted and never imagined, and that's what was being pushed upon me.
Yeah.
Right. So boom, we fast forward to 2019. I'm coming out of the darkest years of my life. Experiencing the loss of my kids, my brother. I lost relationship with everybody. I mean, my phone stopped ringing.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one wanted nothing to do with me, and no one really wants anything to do with me still, right? And now it's where it's evolving because of the walk I'm in, that other world is completely gone, right? And uh it's mind blowing, right? Because you don't even realize you were with the goats.
Now you're with the sheep.
Now you're with the sheep, right? And you see the clear division that you couldn't see because of the veil.
The veil.
Right? Oof.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's cool that first of all, thank you for sharing, and by all means, continue if you got more. I think it's really cool for you to open up and talk about some really hard things. I think a lot of people have a hard time with that. One thing I do want to recognize is one of our fellow Emmaus brothers. This guy, he's a great speaker, great guy, Javier Rivera. He gave a talk one time, and he talked about the and it's in Revelation. I forgot the exact quote, so please don't give me a pow for that one. But it's basically we're able to conquer Satan, conquer the evil with the word of our testimonies and the blood of the Lamb. And really, blood of the Lamb, right? That's Jesus. And then the word of our testimonies. That's what we're doing here. Unfiltered, heart out, expressing about where we were, showing our faults, our bruises, our cuts, all the ugly things about us. And I think that I think that this is like a really powerful moment. I think I got real deep all of a sudden, and then my dog decided to just jump on it. But what's funny is that allowed me to sidetrack and see it's 11:11 right now, and going back into Matrix and God's design. That means when you look at 11:11, you're vibrating at a high frequency, right? So and that's actually emotional energy too, but that's a whole nother side topic. But you wanna say something?
Oh yeah, no, because now that you were leading into the Emmaus thing with our brother Javi, right? I was coming into 2019 when I did my Emmaus. Right? And I knew coming into this, I was doing it. I was already in the process of neuroplasticity, helping society see me for who I am, not their perspective of who they think I am. Right. So these are the things that I already started working on.
Yeah.
Right? Prior going to do my Emmaus in June 2019.
Yeah.
So when I did my Emmaus in 2019, right, I'm coming out of the darkest. I mean, man. Woo.
Yeah. 2019. So maybe that was the shift for you.
That was.
Do or die. Like, hey, sink or swim. You're either gonna go on this right path or you're gonna just go down a terrible one.
Right, I'm walking, right, and I'm
fork in the road.
I'm walking, and then this guy, right, I'm like, this dork, right, in the gym, right, in my building, and because that dork who at first he started asking funny questions, and I thought he was a DEA agent, right? I'm like, this guy's asking way
Too many questions.
too many weird
Yeah,
questions,
especially
right?
like a street dude like yourself. You're like, yo,
Right?
why
I'm
are you asking me all these questions?
Something's not right about
What's up
this
with
guy.
these Mr. Questions, right?
Something's not right about this guy. He's working out and looking at a phone, and then he starts asking funny questions, whatever. Fast forward, we start feeding the homeless.
Are you talking about Marcelo?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we start feeding the homeless. You know, he softened my heart a little bit of how I felt towards him, because I truly thought he was a DEA agent. I didn't, you know, there was something not right about him.
Yeah.
And there's still not something not right. I'm just kidding.
Hey, we all have different types of personalities.
He's amazing. I'm beyond grateful. Thank you, Marcelo, and everybody. Thanks you for bringing me. And what a blessing, right? Started feeding the homeless. Man, I was so detached.
Yeah.
Before
that or after that?
Before, like
that.
I didn't realize how detached I
It
was.
awakened your spirit.
I didn't realize how detached I was.
So Marcelo was the kindle that lit the spiritual flame, kind of waking you up a little bit?
Not necessarily that part. He opened my eyes to how detached I was by bringing me to feed the homeless, right? And he's opened my eyes to a few other things, like Voo Church. Thank you, Marcelo, again for Voo Church.
See, this
Christians.
is more on the Christian path, right?
No,
right.
I have a lot to be grateful for Marcelo. Amazing guy. And
that just goes to show what I was talking about earlier about like Christians and the Catholics and all that stuff. Like Marcelo goes to Christian churches and he worships Christian, but he was actually leading one of the previous Emmauses. So, I mean, yeah, it's whatever. It's just funny how people divide, but it's just, and that's just all media. You know what I mean? And X or Twitter and whatever, YouTube, people love to divide. They divide races, religions, genders, the whole nine. Really, bro, we're all brothers and sisters of Christ, and we're not supposed to be judging each other. We save that for God. Let Him judge. At the end, it was funny. I was talking to somebody and about conspiracy stuff, right? Somebody was talking to me about all kinds of stuff, going deep down the rabbit holes and talking about the powers that be and like all these kinds of people, right? And they, oh man, what do you think about, like, man, they going to hell, blah, 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 blah. And I go, dude, bro, at the end of the day, I'm not God. I go, maybe those people that we think are so bad, maybe they've done things that are really virtuous. Meanwhile, maybe I've done things that are immoral or whatever, where they're like, bro, I don't even do that. This guy did that? What? Come on, bro. I'm the powers that be, quote unquote. I'm this evil guy, and I don't even. So listen, I'm not here to say there's, that everyone's spotless, or to say that everyone's like a sinner either. Well, we all are sinners, but at the end of the day, I can't tell you who's greater or not. That's why you have to be humble, bro. You have to really be humble, because and this goes back into pride. I'll catch myself saying, "Oh, bro, what? I haven't blazed in X amount of time. I haven't drank in X amount of time. I haven't masturbated X amount of time." Whatever the thing might be at that moment, and I'm like walking around like I'm the coolest guy in the world. Meanwhile, there'll be somebody that goes, "Bro, I've never drinking ever, or I've never masturbated ever, or I've never." So like, there's always, talk about levels. There's always levels of things. You have to be humble, bro, and just realize that, bro, we all have different paths. We all started it from different points, so you can't hate. Obviously, from listening to this brother's testimony today, bro, you didn't experience all the things that this guy went through, right? And look at him right now, smiling and laughing and talking crap. So, anyways, I'll pass. I'll let you kind of.
So one of the things, right, that we get caught up in is church politics, right? I forget who said it.
I don't, but
I forget, right?
Some people do.
Who said that? Just focus on the cross, right? Because if you look down and start looking to the side, you get caught up in the you get caught up in the side things, right? And I always say at on Muffin, one of our church groups that we go to, that they have every Friday after 6:30 a.m. mass, right? I would say we
are not all gonna like each other.
Right.
Because there's a lot of you in here I don't like.
Right.
Right. You know, a lot, right? But because of the love I have for Jesus Christ, and one of the commandments is love your neighbor as you love yourself, right?
That's the most important.
I have no choice but to love you, right? But I don't have to like you.
Yeah.
And people get caught up with, you gotta like I'm polite. You know, man, you know what? I like my enemies better because we have a clear line, right? I know who you are.
Listen, at the end of the day, we all have different personalities. Some people makes people feel uncomfortable to have. Listen, at the end of the day, it's like, bro, our souls know if you're vibing with someone or not. So some people feel the need to say, "Hey, what happened? I feel like we're off the wrong foot." And sometimes people just go, "Listen, like we're different peeps. I don't know what it is, and we don't vibe, and no problem. What up, dog? You say hi to him, you give him the daps, and then you don't need
We don't need the cookie cutter stuff.
And by the way, this isn't to anybody that I don't get close enough to. Yeah, it could be because I'm busy too. So I'm not throwing passive aggressive shots if I'm not. I'm also somebody that's I got a kid and a half right now, a kid and then one on the way, and then I got a job, I got a wife, I got things going on, podcast. So I'm busy, but at the same time, I love everybody. Like always, this podcast is sponsored by Faith and Base. Make sure to get a hat, get a shirt. I have more merch coming out in the future. Stay locked in and help support through Faith and Base. You could also get CBD products at Physicians Preferred CBD. Get a 33% off discount using promo code MikeBiz. Really good stuff, quality. It's all about health. CBD helps with pain, inflammation, and lastly, the last sponsor is Adipose beef tallow. Really good skincare. Moisturizing, nourishes your skin, also has medicinal benefits, good for acne, eczema, things like this. So those are our three sponsors to help boost our show. But nonetheless, thanks a lot, guys, for all the support, and I hope you all enjoy this episode. Take care. Peace.
So boom, 2019, I do my maze. Man, what an experience. Yeah. First, so Sunday comes around.
No, but you don't need to go into. No.
I'm not going into. No. We can't.
Okay.
So Sunday comes around. I'm leaving. What do? I go have a drink.
Oh, okay.
Boom. Right. And at the time, in 2018, I started seeing a psychiatrist and a therapist. I was doing everything to make sure I was not crazy, right? Make sure I was good. I knew I had experienced a lot in life. I knew I had become detached with reality. Right. I knew I wasn't normal. Right? So I just had to make sure. I know I had to go through the steps because I didn't realize at the time when my older brother got killed what it did to me. I didn't realize at the time what my sister's passing did to me. I was so caught up in myself, right, and my anger. Yeah. From my dad doing what he did. Yeah. And I never realized, right? Yeah. I never tried to.
You know what's crazy, bro? Is that, and I'm sorry to cut you off. When my mom died and I was living like a bat out of hell, I remember at that time, bro, I was crazy, bro. I remember doing doing coke at night, going to 24-hour fitness like at 3 or 4 in the morning, like, bro, and like drunk and high and coked out, bro. But bro, and just hoping, if somebody tries me, I cannot wait to fucking split somebody in half, bro. And pardon my language, all this stuff, but this is the mindset. Like you're like sick, bro. A sick, like you're like a walking, waiting to fight someone, and like, bro, at the time, like I'm like whatever, like 180, bro. At the time, I was like almost 200. I was muscular. I was like all I did was
wanting to kick someone's ass. That's all I focused on.
And all because of your mother's passing.
Yeah,
right? And you were broken wanting to hurt somebody else. Right?
Yeah.
And that's how the world is. Everybody's broken trying to hurt somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's what I was doing, right?
Yeah.
I was destroying everything in my path. I had no remorse, no sympathy, nothing. I was just being a savage. And I paid heavy. I paid a heavy price for it. So I have this drink, right? I was taking medicine all weekend because I'm having anxiety. I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing here? There was an ex-FBI agent doing a talk, right? And I was blown away, right? Because here I am. I thought a DEA agent brought me, and here's an FBI agent. And I was, what the hell am I doing here, right?
Now you're on the other side of the fence,
right?
kinda.
So I'm taking my lorazepam, keep me calm. And I forgot I was taking my lorazepam all weekend, right? And Sunday came around, and I went and had a beer. Had another beer. And another beer. And 3 beers
and
on
you're not supposed to have that.
3 beers
you
on
know,
lorazepam is like I had a 24-pack.
Oh, wow.
And man, did I have a lot of fun after that. I lost my car. I didn't know where my car was. Next thing you know, 2 days later or so, my boys are at Chili's, and I lived on top of Chili's at downtown Dayland, and right across the street from Father Paul's apartment. Crazy, right? I didn't know him at the time, and then when I saw him, like, what are you doing here? He's like, I live here. So I walk into Chili's, right? Because I was hungry after a 2-3 day binge.
Father Paul's apartment. What the?
Right? So I walk into Chili's. 2 years I lived there, never walked into Chili's. And who's there? 4 of my boys, and one brought his pastor, Nando. Shout out to Hope Church over on Bird Road. And so, right? I'm like, damn. I'm looking at these guys, right? And my barber is sitting at the end. I'm like, what's going on here? You guys, you don't even call me? They're like, why do you think we're here? I'm like, this is an odd group, right? Why would you be looking for me, right? You're like, where you been? Where's your phone? I'm like, bro, I don't even know, right? So my boy, David, hands me his phone, and I check my Instagram. One of my other boys had brought me home. He said I didn't have my car. Right? So I'm like, where did you bring me home from? He was like, BT's. So my car was at BT's. I pull up to BT's, right? My car's windows are down. Right, the Bible that I had just got from the Emmaus retreat is sitting on my passenger seat with my phone right next to it. And right, I was supposed to leave to Colombia on Thursday, and I had some money with me. I had a good amount of cash, and they took the cash. Right, but they didn't take my phone that it was in a Louboutin case next to the Bible. I was like, oh man, I'm so happy that they didn't take my phone. Right, your phone is everything.
Yeah.
And boom, take my car, go back. Man, this is how we're starting.
Right.
3 days of absolute madness after doing my retreat. That moment changed my life, right? I stopped taking that medicine. I stopped all the medicine. And I went up to Massachusetts, and I spent the summer with my mother, my nieces. I was actually supposed to go to Colombia, then go visit my grandmother in Venezuela, then go to Mexico, visit my aunt over there. Like, I had my summer planned out, and because of this incident, that all changed.
Right.
Right. So, boom. I spent the summer up there. I didn't drink the whole summer. I was working out hard. I was focused. I'm like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
Like nobody realizes, right? Because they weren't there. But I was gone for 3 days. I mean, I was
Right.
Superman, right? I was flying high, and again, another life altering moment. Came back. I'm like, let's go. Boom. I drive down with one of my other boys. We go to the Patriots Dolphins game. Antonio Brown just got signed by the Patriots. Life is good for the Patriots. I'm like, if the Dolphins win, it's a win for me, whatever. We had a blast. The Patriots blew them out. I had a credit of $400 at the wharf. And I was like, I guess let's go to the wharf. Somebody's got to use this $400. Nobody wants to take it. And so we went to the wharf. Had a few drinks. Next thing you know, I'm in jail. Cop said I punched him in the face. I'm like, whoa.
You didn't do it or what?
No. I'm like, whoa. I didn't remember nothing. Like, and
What do you mean you don't remember?
I didn't remember nothing. So right.
But you were drinking, so you don't.
No,
so.
but I only had 2 drinks.
Right.
So I'm like, wait a minute. How could I not remember nothing?
Right.
And you know what that brought me back to? The
Right.
pills.
The pills. Did you have the pills?
No.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, someone drugged me.
Uh-huh.
There's no way around it, right?
Oh. You think the cop drugged you?
No, I don't know who. It wasn't the cop. It was.
Okay.
It had to have been the bartenders.
Oh, okay.
Because they didn't like me. There was bartenders. I'm such a likable guy, humble pie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I had a $400 credit, and you're gonna make me wait? Let's go, bro. Give my drink. Right. And
but at any point in this testimony, do you feel like you get reformed, or do you feel like you stay?
Oh, I'm in the reforming
Okay,
process,
okay,
right?
okay.
So, right, I did my
I'm trying to.
I-
Because I feel like you. Every time I'm like, okay,
It feels like I'm regressing.
You made it. No, you made it, and then you regress. So I'm okay.
It seems that way, right? So, I mean, obviously with the drinking, what a mistake that was, right?
Right.
But that was an honest mistake. One beer led to another because of the pills.
Right.
And that incident led me to not drinking for the next 2 months. I didn't drink for 2 months.
Right.
I was petrified. I'm like, whoa.
Right.
So then I come back. It's September 14th, right? Came back September 14th, 2019. The Patriots-Dolphins game is September 15th, right? Exciting. We're going to Dolphins game, then go to the wharf after. Having fun. My boys from over there. He's excited. He's in Miami. We're having a blast.
So, but what happened after the wharf, though?
So, I left the wharf.
You go to jail?
Yeah.
Because you hit the cop?
I get charged with 6 aggravated assault and battery on a police officer.
Damn.
6 felonies. I'm like, twin brother of a cop killer.
They have the record.
Right. Assaults, punches a cop. Right. This is what the cop said. I punched him in the face. And when the lawyer tells me that, the people at court, I'm like, that's impossible. I go, I've been training my whole life not to touch the cops.
Yeah.
I go, if I punch a cop, what did he do to me?
Right.
Right?
Okay.
So I'm like, I need to see the video. Show me.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember even talking to a cop. Sure enough, I see the video. I'm like, at what point do you see me punch this cop? Right? This was later down the road, right? So it was a lie. It was a lie that I punched the cop. It was a complete lie, and I saw the video. I saw it all.
Okay.
And
so then what happened? Were you able to get it off? Based on were you able to get it off based on the lie?
Oh, I mean, I beat 5 of the 6 charges.
Oh, okay.
I beat 5 of the 6 charges. I went to trial February 24th to the 26th, 2020. Now my daughter is in the stomach, just pregnant, right? So
Wow.
she's just was made freshly brewed, right?
Right.
And they send me to jail.
Wow.
Right? They suspend my sentence. They could have sentenced me right at the end of my trial or let me go home. I'm out on bail either way, right? That, there was no need for me to go to jail. My sentence at the end of the day, 8 months later, was 3 years probation, right? But what the judge decided to do was take a matter into her own hands because of what my brother had done, right?
Right.
And it was made aware that my brother was a cop killer, right?
Right.
So what they do, they throw me in jail. So I'm in jail. The first 4 days was probably the most difficult one, TGK psych ward. Whoa, they had me in a 6x6 with a guy that just killed his girlfriend.
Wow.
And he's crying like a little baby. And I'm in there for 4 days, shackled at every point. You go shackled, ankles, till you get into the little shower, and they, you know what I mean? You got guys throwing shit on the walls of the shower. I mean, you want to talk about the crazies of the craziest? That was my 4 hardest days probably of my life, those 4 days. But man, after that, it was country club time. They sent me to Metro West. It felt like I was at a country club, so it made it. I'm like, right. This ain't bad over here, right? So I'm at Metro West, and I'm like, what the hell is going? Get me out of here! What's going on here? Why am I in jail? I'm telling my mom, like, hey, call so and so. Nobody's doing nothing. Nobody came to the rescue. Nobody, right? So I'm like, whoa.
So you're trying to wait to get bailed out?
No, I was already bailed out.
Okay.
I lost my trial. So February 26th, they sent me to jail, but I was not sentenced.
Oh, I see.
To jail, right? So February March 10th maybe, I get out of jail. They send me on house arrest because of COVID. Right?
Yeah.
So now I'm not even sentenced yet. So they sent me home on house arrest. I had probably the best birthday ever. I can't say her name, but thank you for the birthday party. It was a memorable one. You know, here I am on house arrest, having a house party. That was it was beautiful. You know what I mean? They were trying to tear me down.
But my bad, bro. I want you to get to I want you to move through this though, because I feel like you're getting caught up in some of your details.
In the moments.
Yeah.
So they kept me in house arrest, sent me back to jail for 2 more months.
Right.
So 9/29 September.
So but listen, because you're kind of we don't need
no,
to know
I know.
dates and
Listen.
stuff. Okay.
This is a very it's a monumental thing because it comes back to 9/29. Because of your faith, it will happen.
Okay.
Right. I got released September 29.
Mm-hmm.
My son's birthday, September 29.
Okay.
And September 29, something always epic happens, and because of my faith, it will happen.
You know what 2/9 is, right? 11.
Yeah.
You know what that is?
Yeah.
9/11.
Yeah.
So that it's like the same numbers. 9/11 and 9/29 is like 9. It's the same.
And you wanted to rush me.
And you know what? And you know what 9/11 is?
Yeah.
Jesus' birthday.
Yeah.
You know that?
And you wanted to rush me on the most important part.
No, I'm not rushing you.
No, I know. But right. I know we get caught up in those side stories, but man, some of those side stories it's just so monumental. Things that happen that change me, right? It changed me internally, that it helps somebody else down the road, right? And that's one of the keys of many that I have, right? That I'm able to do some amazing things because of all the things that I've been through. It's insane, right? So boom, 9/29, I get released. Right? Here I am. I'm at a crossroad. Angry again.
Right.
Blown away at how serious this has become. A cop said I punched him in the face. Right. Complete lie. They threw me in jail 9 months, 8 months, not even sentenced. Right? My sentencing was 3 years probation, right? For me, mentally, it's detrimental, mind blowing. I cannot believe what's happening. They're painting this picture of a monster, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Right.
I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? I get out of jail. I have my dog that is going bananas. She brought my dog. I'm sitting in the car outside of jail. She's kissing me, going bananas, right? And my dog is the reason why I go to daily mass. Your dog that just came right now at
Right.
11:11 is, you know what it is, right?
Right.
So December 14th, I take my dog to church. Her first time going to church, my daughter's first time going to church. Now my daughter is born, she was born October 20th, 2020. Right?
Yeah.
Man, what a blessing. They tried to destroy me, and I just had the most beautiful baby girl born.
Right.
In the midst of it all. My dog poops. I forgot to pick it up. I was like, I'll pick it up the next day. Next day comes, I'm sitting at my pew in the corner, and God starts talking to me, and he's like, you dummy, if you go to the gym every day, you should be coming here every day too. Just like that. And what happened? I've been going to mass every day since. Every day since that, right? Because it's either I go fight a war against the flesh, or I go
Right.
fight a war against the spirit. And I already know the spirit that I have, and I see the spirit that they're trying to paint on me,
Right.
right? And I was like, I'm not going to do what my brother did to his daughter and my kids.
Yeah.
Because I was ready. I was ready for war. It's just, which war was I picking?
Right. Right. Right.
The hard one or the easy one? Right?
Right.
I went with the hard one. And man, am I loving it. I love fighting spirits.
Yeah.
They don't make a movie of this. They haven't made a movie of this yet, but they're going to do it because, man, we can get into another podcast of it, but it's insane. It's a blessing. I love every minute of it. I love going to daily mass. I love what Jesus.
So would you say that would you say like you've changed a lot based on where you're at, or you say you still backslide, or you evolved,
I
or
don't backslide. There's no backsliding. Nothing. I've never been more me than ever.
right,
Right. So I always say I was a gangster, right? Because we were gangsters. And I had to accept it. And what made me see that was when I watched The Sopranos in that summer that I spent up in Massachusetts. And I saw everything. I was like, what the hell?
right,
Now I see how I'm viewed in some people's eyes, right? And it made me become self-aware.
gave
right?
you perspective.
And I became more of me than ever, right? Because I stand on my principles. I see how people view me. I don't fight people in the flesh no more, which was one of the things that would get me caught up in things, fighting
Right.
people in the flesh. And yeah, nah, bro. There's no regressing. There's no turning back.
Yeah, no, that's good, man. I mean, it's you know, I mean, life is a challenging experience. You know, sometimes you go through things, and one thing I've heard before, it's like if you're flatline, that means you're dead. You know, so life's gonna have its highs and lows, and it's just really being able to find something in that to make you, to find purpose and realize that you're gonna have your ups and downs, and that's okay. And I feel like your ups and downs may be more extreme maybe than someone else, right? But that's okay, right?
We all get handled what we can handle, right?
We all get handled stuff though. I think God is is just in that way. He allows everyone to feel some sort of something at some point. We all get it one way or another, so it's kind of like the grand equalizer, you know what I mean? But dude, yeah, no. Thanks for. As far as testimony goes, are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
You're good.
I can go on with side
No, you can
stories
go on
for
and on.
days, but
No, I think it's really cool. I mean, obviously, thank you very much for sharing of your testimony. I know it's really hard to express yourself and being able to talk about things that he did. And I feel like I commend him for it. But yeah, just put a bow on it, or to ask more things. So what would you say is like your number one Bible verse, or just thing in Christianity that kind of keeps you going, whether it's a verse or prayer? Is there anything that
I mean, the one that always sticks out to me, of course, is because of your faith, it will happen. Matthew 9:29. It's always
closer to your phone?
it's
Or
always
your mouth?
it's always front and center, right? Because of your faith, it will happen. 9:29. Of course, 9:29 is my firstborn.
Oh, wow.
It's my firstborn. Like, I put down the gun when my son was born.
Right.
That was a life altering thing.
Right.
Because I would not be here if I had not, right?
Yeah.
And I destroyed my son, right? And I knew I had to become so great that my son would forgive me. Right?
Listen. We're all work in progress, and whatever timing of your son to forgive you, that's none of your business. But you gotta just do what's right. And God is such a supernatural God that you never know, man. Just stay on the right path.
Yeah, no,
and
I left that all in his hands, right? And then the other one I love is Exodus 3:14, right? I am who I am, right? Or I am who am. And one of the brothers goes, but that's Jesus talking about God himself. I go, yeah, but Exodus is about us, right? Jesus lives within us. The temple, our bodies are the temple where the Holy Spirit resides in us. I don't know how you want to view it at. That's how I see it.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, I love theology and people, interpreting stuff, and some people are more literalists, some people are more interpretists, right? And yeah, I think that there's valid arguments to make on both sides.
it
but
all becomes to perspective.
It's all
right?
perspective. But that's the beauty about this, like, life of the way that God created it, is that in a weird way you can kind of live in your own reality. And I feel like that's what, like, social media does, right? Like, a lot of people are living in their alternative realities. Some people are living in this world that that Jesus is black, or that Jesus is gay, or that Jesus never existed, or that and I'm just talking about Jesus. Like, I'm not even talking about Like, I've posted videos of mine where I'm just showing an image of Jesus, like, that I've, like, created an AI and stuff. They're like, oh, this Jesus is not white. He doesn't have green or blue and all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, this is just an image generated. Like, it's a representation of what I'm trying to demonstrate. By no means am I saying, oh yeah, you see his eye color, you see his birthmark, you see this, bro, that's freaking Jesus. Like, people are so, like, they're so literal and stupid the way they're caught up in stuff. And, like, I'm sorry, like, I just feel like people are so programmed to, like, noticing divisiveness of things. And, like, and I'm not trying to hate on any type of denomination of people, but I do feel like sometimes people have a hard time of issues, like, with race and sex, and it's just, like, crazy to me.
Why we focus on the cross, right?
Yeah, that's why you focus on the cross, man.
We gotta focus on the cross.
That's why, like, anybody says anything, I don't take offense. Oh, all men are this, or all 30-something-year-olds are like this, or all white people, or all people with the Latino wives. Like, I don't, you can't take offense to what people are thinking. At the end of the day, you take offense to it if you're insecure. If you're not insecure, like, I don't, like, how could I get offended if I don't give a crap of what somebody else is thinking? You know what I mean? So that's the end of the day, is really just getting comfortable in your own skin. And but I do want to ask you, because faith and base, obviously the word is faith, leads with God, based more on the opening up your mind, kind of like based in reality kind of thing. So with that kind of being said, where you, and I've never really talked with you much, because we always talk about God. Where are you at with, like, conspiracies and stuff like this? Are you into all that, or do you not really dive down the rabbit holes?
Conspiracies, not really, because I mean, I see how the picture can be painted
Each
and
way.
distorted.
Yeah.
And I've experienced it, right? I experience it anytime I Google my name and I look at what they got on there and how it's made to look, and the conspiracy in my eyes to destroy me and eventually try and kill me, right? Because I got people that they don't like me and they do not want to see me this happy, right? So it's conspiracy is something that is very
All right.
I don't really
no worries. So, where are you at with like flat Earth or anything like that? You
yeah,
fuck with
nah,
that? You mess with that or not? Not really.
Look, that's beyond my
That's beyond.
you
All
know,
right, no, that's fine. I mean, listen. At the end of the day, we all go down different rabbit holes, and
I haven't got to that far.
That level?
Like, I try to change
I
the
appreciate him being kind enough. If somebody hasn't looked into it, they usually mock you. So he's at least being
Considerate.
considerate enough not to try to hate. Okay, I mean, so listen. So you're not really into like all the. So I feel like a path that got me into faith was kind of like noticing like a lot of negative stuff in society, conspiracy. But you just lived life as a thug, and so that was your and I'm just saying it the way it is, So I think that's what it was, right? For me, it was more research, and for you, it was more life. Like I lived it, right?
No,
I live a crazy life, and this is me, right?
Yeah.
That's you, right? At the end of the day.
Yeah, I definitely experienced it. I'm not into the conspiracies,
Yeah.
I got podcasts for days.
Podcast for days, dog.
Podcast for days. It's a beautiful walk, right? And like you try to squeeze so much into such a period of time to have people understand who you are and what you become. It's kind of hard. It's hard, and what I know, and I put it to the test through trials and situations, and it's come out every time I say it comes out. I know who I am, right? I know there is no doubt in me who I am, right? So nobody's perspective can alter who I am. I know what I'm gonna do to
Yeah. Well, there's like a famous phrase or saying that's like, whatever somebody thinks of me is none of my business, right? And that's, at the end of the day, but I see what you're saying, and that kind of goes into like the conspiracy and manipulation and mind control, psyops and stuff. Is that people conduct psyops. People like to psychologically manipulate scenarios, play these Machiavellian games where they're trying to give off an image of them, creating a facade, an image of them in a certain way, and then they create another picture of you in a certain way.
We're at war, right? Tucker Carlson said it. I'm not into politics or nothing.
Yeah.
Tucker Carlson is hitting it on the money, and he's talking a lot about the demonic spirits. And man, look at your family and friends. Pay attention how they act. They are in you. They are amongst you. They are manipulating. Narcissists are what? That's one of the patterns and
categorizations,
categories that I have have affected my life, right? And wow. Well,
I think that's a beautiful thing, and we could probably wrap it up here shortly, but a lot of the times modern scientists or psychology, they have words to label things, right? Because that's the way our material world, we establish, like, okay, what the premise, what is this? So we say, oh, they're depressed, they're bipolar, they're X, Y, and Z, but they're not using spiritual language, right? But you could use spiritual language pointing at the same thing, right? So it's like, yo, like, are they possessed? Are they having an encounter? Like, excuse me. Right? It just shows that, like, you could look this through a spiritual lens, where some people don't even look at it. Like, some people get exorcised, right? There's an exorcism. It's a whole thing, and I mean, So there's some Christian churches, I don't know how you feel about this, where they lay hands and they,
Pray over them?
no, they lay hands and they like cast out demons and stuff like that. Have you seen any of that?
And
I'm not talking about like all this like craziness, like what are the people like? Oh, but it seems kind of real. I don't know.
I mean,
anyways, but like it just shows that like something could be tormenting you, and it's a spiritual thing, and it's not even like a mental thing. Yeah, it is mental, but it's a spiritual mental.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
So anyways,
It's spiritual warfare. I mean,
Ephesians 6:12. We don't battle against flesh and blood, but powers and principalities and darkness.
And I constantly say, and I jokingly say, they don't make superheroes like me, right? Because I know I'm fighting these spirits.
What do you know the etymology of the name Giancarlo? No, you should look into it.
What it means?
Yeah, what does it mean?
God's gracious gift.
Oh, there you go. Okay, well, Michael is who is like God, and you're God's gracious gift. We got a couple of God's warriors out here, bro. Trying to conquer.
We're at ground zero.
But listen, at the end of the day, I'll just wrap it up by saying that me and him, we're not perfect. We are people that are trying to become better men, and hopefully through some of this conversation, you were able to see some of our scars, but see how we are thoughtful beings, and that we're trying to help others as far as spiritually, and also trying to empower ourselves. Really, we really want to become the vessel that God could use to glorify him. And listen, if you're not living in the right way, God's not going to use you, so it's an honor and a privilege to be a vessel. And that's kind of the whole premise with Faith and Base and this podcast. I was telling Giancarlo over the phone yesterday that if this all podcast was all about me and like what I think is cool or whatever, this would be nothing. This whole podcast, and it's gotten the way it is now because of God, and I've leaned on God, and God's dictated the way. So just I had to say that. But yeah, Giancarlo, do you have any last parting words?
Well, till the next time, the best is yet to come, as they say at Boom. Shout out to Pastor Rich and Don Cherie. Love you guys. You guys are doing a great job, and it's another platform that I look forward to working with. Just keep coming back, right? Keep coming back, showing up to church, showing up to your events, showing up for yourself, right? You got to keep coming back day after day, right? We all fight resistance every day, every hour, every minute, every second. We're constantly battling with resistance. And the resistance of some of the people that you don't expect, that's the hardest part, right? You don't expect your husband to be that demonic spirit. You don't expect your mother to be that demonic spirit. You don't expect your best friend. You don't expect it. It's so crazy, right? There's goats and there's sheep. And man, I am drawing the line everywhere I go. I am acknowledging and letting them know that I know who you are, and this is the line, right? I'm not playing around with that no more, because it's affected my life so much that it's left me no choice but to do what I'm doing, right? I say and I do what I do, right? On my Instagram, like what I started doing was because of my kids, and I know how bad they painted the picture of me to be, that I knew I had to start painting that different picture, right? The truth, what I truly walk in, what goes on in my mind. I literally put, and it's the craziest thing sometimes, and I'm like, where does this come from? But that's what's in my mind, that's what's in my heart, and that's what I gotta show my kids, right? And whoever else along the line that's watching it, right, can think and whatever they want. But what I do is for my kids, so they know what their father is, not what they painted it I'm out to be. Not, yeah, I'm a badass, bro. I'm that guy that's gonna defend everybody when somebody comes in with a gun. I'm the guy that's gonna stand up for everybody, bro. I'm the one that's the defender. I'm the one that you should be taking care of me now, because when that time comes, I'm the one that's gonna die fighting for what's right, not baking the cookies and hiding out, in the kitchen. not that I'm saying to the women,
Right.
you know, but I got tired of people's perspective of me.
Yeah. Well, this is a good way for you to flip it, huh?
And here we are.
Amen.
And here we go. Right, that magical carpet ride. It's a blessing, right? You know,
Yeah.
it's. I am grateful for the gift that I've been giving to live.
Amen.
Thank you for having me. And faith based baby, let's go.
Let's go. All right, y'all. Peace, y'all. Take care. We did it, dog. We did it.
Oh my goodness.
We did it.
I don't even want to touch it. I gotta pee like a racehorse.
We did it. We did it. We did it.